DonInLondon, hello. It's 29th of March 2013, early morning, 6:30. I've been up all night. I've been feeling good, listening to the birds sing and the odd car go past with a swooshing sound. And normally London is thrumming by now, with all sorts of noises off, just like now. Anyway, my videos are about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect with people and never really getting there, never being the person I thought I ought to be, never satisfied. And I guess that fueled my drinking and disappointment with myself, and then my disappointment with life in general, and in the end alcohol became a dependency, and then an addiction which I could not get out of. Nobody wants to be an addict. At least I don't think so. And by the time you are one, it's too late. So what do you do? Well, if you're an addict, you keep on being addicted to what it is. And to try and break free of that on your own is asking too much. We weren't built for extremes of life, especially addiction. So it kills people, as we know. And we have a fear of people who are addicted because we don't know what to do with them. I didn't know what to do to get out of it. My family didn't know what to do to help me. They did suggest I went to AA and pushed me through the doors, and I ran away because I wasn't ready. I didn't realise what was wrong with me, and after all, should I not be able to sort myself out, give myself a kick up the backside, pull my socks up and get on with life? And the answer is no, I couldn't. I couldn't do it on my own and find a way forward. So my videos are really about it is possible to become a person in recovery from whatever it is that is bothering you, that you're addicted to. And for me, I needed professional help to get dry. That is, not sober, but just simply dry, a dry drunk. And then they suggested I needed ongoing help, which they could not provide, the professionals, in any way, shape or form, like a fellowship. And that fellowship is Alcoholics Anonymous. I never speak for AA, can't. It's full of unique, authentic people. And if you are in AA, you know I don't speak for you, and I cannot speak for you. And the fellowship is about being there as a trusted servant and not a leader. So I'm not suggesting that anything can fix your addiction habits. What I'm saying is we need to change the way we live. So we don't need to take a drink in order for life to have some meaning. Because life does get meaningless if it's just a 24/7 addiction which you can't cope with. You just keep on doing it, hoping that one day you'll stop. But that day never comes unless we put some effort in and some action in and get some help. So I needed help. And eventually I realised that a bunch of people in fellowship, they were, well, what you see is what you get on a daily basis. A fellowship of ordinary human beings making good as best they can with what they have and without a drink. And then life does take on new meaning again. It's a rocky road, and we then deal with life, the good, bad and ugly of it, as best we can. So it's not going to save you and fix you. Fellowship will help save you on a daily basis, make better choices, and it's about your choices. One, not to drink, and then two, to work out how to live life again, which is what I had to do. And it works if we work at it and put the action in. So part of my actions is sharing is experience, strength and hope here. Experience, strength and hope here. I'm not saying it's a fix. It's not. What you see in fellowship of AA is what you get. So some days it's good, some days it's bad, some days it feels quite ugly, because people tell the truth of their situation anonymously within fellowship. And this is not fellowship, this is me sharing how it works for me. But I do share the AA preamble and some notes, which I've just written. First and foremost, I'm very pleased to say that my mum at the age of 82 has just got the all clear and has been discharged from cancer treatment for breast cancer. And that's at the age of 82. And she's always been the wisdom in my life, even though I didn't know it. So I feel very good about that she's okay and feels more herself today. Anyway, coming back to AA, I'm still alive to hear the good news. That's one of the things. Because without the fellowship, I am sure I would have perished through ignorance of what to do. So, what is AA? I'll share this preamble and then some notes. This is AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women, non-professionals, who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. And we do this wherever we can, and however we can, and where we prefer. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking, and I didn't even have that to start with. So I was lucky somehow to get to a place of a desire to try out what life would be like without a drink. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. So whilst the fellowship is not allied to any of that, you can be in a sect if you desire, you can be a part of a religious denomination if you desire, and that is your preference. You can choose your politics, what organisations and institutions are right for you. You can engage in any controversy, endorse or oppose any cause, as you come to understand for yourself. So in fellowship we do hear about what other people are up to and how life works for them, sober, so they can engage in life. But the fellowship is there for one thing. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, however we choose to do it. So we are a non-conformist fellowship in many respects, and if you try to make people conform, well, there are no rules, laws or regulations as other organisations have. We are somewhat of an anarchic democracy where we agree to disagree, where we agree how meetings work, how we conduct ourselves in meetings. Anyway, this is outside the remit of AA. So for March, hello, I think I might have pulled off the wrong notes. I just haven't changed the date on it. That's alright, so I can continue. March 29th, 2013. Am I still judging the world and using the 12 steps to judge what other people do? Am I still trying to be perfect, or am I accepting that I can make progress today? Is there anything I am avoiding today? Do I really understand that life is truly all about the quality of my emotional and spiritual journey? By this time in my life, should I have all the things I thought I wanted? Do people think I'm a success or a failure? Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? Yeah, it's a very good question. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be happy? Well, we can be both if we accept we are making progress and not perfect today. It was always about the reward at the end of the journey, in many respects, but I never really got to wherever the end of the journey would be, regarding people, places and things. I was always trying to be whatever I thought I ought to be, rather than trying to find out what is this emotional and spiritual journey. And I was on it when I first started life, I know that. And then I got diverted off it because of family circumstances, which were beyond my control and beyond my family's control. And I was thrown into a world of turmoil. And the only way to cope with it, in some respects, was to have a drink. That's what I learned. So from convivial and joyful drinking, I guess it was quite dependent drinking from the very start. It knocked me out, took me out of the picture, helped me slow down and go to sleep, and then it stopped working completely. Anyway, excuse me, we can restart our day at any time. I guess the reason why I was asking all those questions just now is because of all the things that can undo me as fast as I could drink. So if I don't feel right about myself, I could be in trouble. I could call it unhelpful thinking, a sort of thinking that we start to have when we feel that we might not measure up to the expectations of those people we know. And the worst expectation of all is one that we carry around in our own heads about ourselves. Expectations are resentments under construction. So if I expect too much of me or other people, the resentment is there, ready to happen. And worse than expectations, in my opinion, just now, are the things we feel we are entitled to, just because we think we are entitled to them. We're not entitled to anything, no matter how hard we have worked all our lives. All the material stuff can go in an instant. You don't have to tell me about that. It may not have gone in an instant, but it went very quickly when I couldn't keep up and do the work I used to do. A vision for you. The usefulness of any vessel is in its emptiness. When I stopped drinking, I was still full of fear, pride and ego. Fear fed my paranoia. Pride and ego fed my expectations and entitlements. Driven mad by drink and powerless over it, I did not know what to do, even though I had a toolkit available to me to start a life given my past experience and the skills and experiences that would lead back to success. So I had it all in my head. But no amount of skill and no amount of experience will overcome burnout in particular careers, which require tenacity and sometimes what might be described as superhuman resilience. Well, I'm not superhuman, so my resilience was burned out. Nobody is superhuman, and nobody can live at extremes for long periods. It took me quite a while to realise that burning out, which left a huge gap, and the potential to restart life from scratch, and yet the attraction to the old life, the old material life, and abundant money, could have undone me had I not encountered fellowship and friendship, one day at a time. So I feel fortunate that I didn't try and do all the old things that I used to do, being highly skilled in particular areas of helping people, should I not have been able to help myself. And it's a bit like physician, heal thyself. There ain't no chance of that when it comes to addiction. So, being empty. A vessel with nothing in it? Not quite. Half of the vessel empty in my case. All of my thinking and past experience were about getting somewhere. And by the time I got somewhere, I would be okay. So when I stopped trying to think what was right, or stopped trying to think what the right answer might be, I was left with a whole void of time where once I had a diary of events, work events, which were good for a year, at least. It felt wrong to have time on my hands. I was racked with guilt and shame about failure to be the man I thought I ought to be. And with our fellowship, or somehow finding out that I needed empty spaces to make sense why anyone is alive. Fellowship is about the emotional and spiritual experience. Take away the man-made expectations and entitlements, the man-made requirements and measures of success. Suddenly life is quite simple. So all my man-made expectations, entitlements and measurements of success were useless to me. And then we get to this yes, but no, but yes, but no sort of feeling inside. We're running one way or the other. The whole world careering along on expectations and entitlements based on judgments and measurement. And how do we actually value the life we have? On the one hand, we have the material world which drives most of what goes on. And then we have songs written, books written, films made, TV series all about. What are they about? How to love, how to be loved back, and find useful endeavours in life. Sometimes our thinking will lead us into all the wrong decisions because we just don't understand what makes us tick on a daily basis. Our emotional and spiritual living. If only we could get to it. So I was lucky, burnt out, half of me not functional ever properly, that's my emotional side, and an intelligent mind which said I ought to be successful by now. So why did I drink? Well, it's pretty darn obvious, really. Failure. Judging myself as a failure. The basics of emotional and spiritual living. I'll put a question mark here. Knowing our feelings in the moment of now. Good feelings, bad feelings, ugly feelings. If we know the mood we are in, we know how it impacts on our thinking and our actions. If we feel desperate, thinking is desperate and actions are desperate. If we feel loving, our thinking is loving and the actions that follow are loving. And yet in my life, I suppressed most of my feelings until I got sober because I feared that if I told you the truth, my girl would leave me, my job would be in jeopardy, my family wouldn't understand me, I would conform so I would fit in. But I could never keep up the pretense and so drowned my sorrows as well as drowning my possibilities. And that's it. I needed the emptiness in sobriety to really understand what feelings were. Real feelings, even if they were awkward feelings in the moment of now. Fellowship helps me deal with my shortcomings. My shortcomings were courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, and building confidence to be a human. Being human. Now, in recovery, we admit and accept the truth of who we are, hopefully. And having admitted the truth of who we are, we can work on what we've got left. Usually, we have remnants of the old life, still very active. And that's fear, pride and ego. These are feelings, fear, pride and ego. And we are asking ourselves to take a leap forward with courage to change, faith in doing the next right thing, and trying to develop confidence that it is okay to start from scratch every single day. You don't have to know the answers. And more, that it is okay to restart the day at any time with courage, faith and confidence. It's okay, courage, faith and confidence, to start again. To deal with our defects of character, which can be extreme in early recovery, fear, pride and ego can shut us down very quickly. And we could think, I'm not going there. They were talking about me. They were looking at me. They were judging me. I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be gossiped about. I don't want this and I don't want that. Fear, pride and ego will get in the way. And our shortcomings, which can be extreme too, lacking courage, lacking faith and confidence. It does take time to find our way. If we let go of fear, pride and ego as often as we can, let go of the fear, pride and ego, the emptiness we have can be filled with courage, faith and confidence to change and be a new human trying to be a human being today. Now, how am I feeling this morning? Well, I had loads of messages on my phone. I've been awake most of the night, which is not because of the messages, because I didn't look at them till about 5 this morning. I just wanted to... I had a long sleep, which is really unusual for an insomniac, so I must be tired. Yeah, I've been awake most of the night, pondering and not trying to answer any questions about what I should be doing today. But the emptiness can gnaw at the soul. You know, that emptiness can... It can make us feel very lonely and vulnerable. If we start to think about what we should do, we will make endless lists which have no point. And please forgive me for all those who think if you keep on making lists it's going to make life better. Endless lists just become endless lists. They're lists of lists of lists. What we need to do is create emptiness, not lists. They have no point. So if emotional and spiritual is the key, and I do believe it is, when I ask myself, how am I feeling right now? Well, I feel like anything might happen, and it's okay to be me. Learning a bit more about being human, being human today. And what are my measures of success, emotionally and spiritually? Feelings fitting with now. I'm experiencing good feelings right now. Not always the case when I wake up in the wee hours of the morning, but I am a human being human. The good news, my mum has the all clear after treatment for breast cancer at the age of 82. My best friend left messages, and they were funny and made me laugh. I still don't know what they were about. Something to do with a car. I'm finding it, so I don't know quite what went on there. And other messages, happy messages. I've been sleeping quite a lot and realise how tired I've been. There is peacefulness in the early hours of today and the possibility of serenity in the moment of now. And I do feel quite serene. I have room to experience and live emotionally in the moment of now. I have room to experience and live emotionally in the moment of now. And without a troubled heart about what I should expect of myself. I expect nothing, so something is possible for the rest of the day. So what happens? Now I've done all my stuff early. I've got piles of paper around me. My place is untidy because these videos do take quite a lot of time to do. And I realise that sharing a message of experience, strength and hope by video and also writing them. I went back to just writing new stuff last year, and now this year I've been doing both, the writing and the new video. So quite a tough assignment on a daily basis. It just takes some hours to do them. Not only to speak them, that's the easy bit. It's what goes before, the preparation, I guess. But the reason why I do them is it's part of my... Would I do it quite so conscientiously if I weren't making a video? And the answer is probably not. I'll be going to more meetings and making the effort to get out, question mark. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, because of mobility. But that's just life. You know, I'm older now. So I've gone past those expectations and a feeling of entitlement to something. Actually, I don't feel that. I'm not entitled to anything. But life is much, much clearer emotionally and spiritually. Learning how to love people, still learning how to be loved back, because it's quite difficult for people when they share love. Are we trusting of it? And that's something I need to learn. Trust myself to love and be loved back, and still keep finding useful endeavours. Part of one doing these videos, but the other one, if the weather holds and I can get out and about, is photography. And I've just been trying to sort out some of my photos over the last few years, and I seem to have quite a lot kicking about. So part of my useful endeavours. So tidy up is one thing. Go through my post. Deal with any bills. There is one outstanding, I know. Apart from that, I do check online what's going on. I don't want any nasty surprises, particularly. So there we are. The Serenity Prayer, can do, can't do, wisdom to know the difference. I can do this, I can't do that. I can change me. I can work towards courage, faith and confidence. I don't want to go backwards into fear, pride and ego, but that's possible. And try not to judge people. If I don't judge people, they won't be judging me. And the 12 steps are wonderful for sorting out our emotional and spiritual existence. But they're also very handy at judging other people, which is not a good idea. Especially with the 12 steps, which you can undo them with. So just because they're working for you, they won't necessarily be helpful when you're judging other people. Know yourself, that's all. Excuse me for shuffling. The Serenity Prayer, a restoration to sanity or serenity around a life of chaos. We can still create serenity, or get there. I don't know that we create it. Serenity is available in the moment of now. if we let go fear, brave facing and ego, fear, pride and ego, and go for a bit more courage, faith and confidence, to not know things, to have empty spaces in our lives, to stop writing endless lists. Make one list of 3 things, maybe. Emotional, spiritual, to do today, and maybe a spot check inventory at night with gratitude list would help. It helps form how the day starts and ends. Starts and ends. So, we will have done the things which are good today. Helped a stranger, freely given, and sometimes freely received back. Who knows? Life is just like that. Anyway, I hope you have a good day this Good Friday, Easter weekend in 2013. To God or in good conscience, as you come to understand for yourself, whatever is your higher power. You don't have to have the same higher power as somebody else. For me, it's truth, love and wisdom in the moment of now, which is forever changing, because life is changing. So the truth, love and wisdom is always ever changing, growing, diminishing, changing. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference in the moment, minute, hour, just for Good Friday.